there was definitely some abundant animosity.
They didn't bring that. They didn't bring some different type of energy out of you
every time.
For no reason. It's just I don't know why. I mean, Xavier and Dayton, conference rivals.
This is the Sean Miller Podcast, presented by Deer Park Roofing.
Welcome into another episode of the Sean Miller Podcast. Paul Fritchner, and today there is no Sean Miller on this podcast. It's a different type of episode this afternoon, and I'll introduce that in just a second. But to get things started, we are presented by Deer Park Roofing, and as always, the official payroll sponsor of the Sean Miller Podcast, Payroll Partners. Well, to my right today, it is the head coach of the Xavier women's basketball program, Billi Chambers. And over here across from me, it is two of the greatest to ever wear a women's jersey. It is Amber Harris and Tashia Phillips. Welcome to all of you here to the Sean Miller Podcast. It's great to see you. It's great to have you on the show. Billi, I'm excited for you to make your Sean Miller Podcast debut. How are you doing today?
I'm doing great. It's been a great day with both Tashia and Amber, having a chance to spend a little bit of time with our team, and it's just been an awesome day, so I'm excited to be here.
Well, this is, as I said, a very special episode for Xavier fans that are watching. You two, I mean, I have the stats here. I have some of your accomplishments, and this is just a small sample of your guys' career here at Xavier. But Amber, you were the 4th overall pick in the 2011 WNBA draft, a 2-time State Farm All-American, 4-time All-Atlantic 10 first team, 2010 and 2011 A-10 Player of the Year, 2010 AP Third Team All-American, 2007 Atlantic 10 Rookie of the Year, and you were only the second Xavier player ever to surpass 2,000 points and 1,000 rebounds in your career. Tashia, you're the 8th overall pick in 2011, 2009 A-10 Player of the Year, 2008 A-10 Rookie of the Year, 2008 and 2011 A-10 Championship Most Outstanding Player, 2010 and 2011 A-10 Defensive Player of the Year, a 3-time Wooden Award final ballot, and a 3-time All-A-10 first team. I mean, that is just scratching the surface of the career that both of you had. So congratulations to the both of you. And I'm going to stop talking now because the rest of this show is going to be hosted by someone very special to this program, Mike Schmaltz, who has been on the Sean Miller Podcast before. I'm going to switch places with Mike. Mike was a broadcaster for Amber and Tashia's entire career here at Xavier. He has broadcasted women's games for over 20 years. We thought it'd be great to get Mike Schmaltz up into this chair to be able to share in that history, to be able to share in those moments and have some conversations with the both of them. So we're going to step away, take a break, and when we come back, Mike will be up here in the chair for the rest of the show. So congratulations to the both of you as we will get on through this show and why you guys are here. And I'm looking forward to the rest of this show. The Sean Miller Podcast is proud to partner with Deer Park Roofing, a company that's provided elite service for homes and businesses since 1996 and leads the industry in professionalism, quality, and responsiveness. Whether your needs are residential or commercial, like the outstanding work on the Cintas Center, the home of Xavier basketball, Deer Park can handle any job and ensure it's done right. Deer Park's motto is protect what's important, and what's important to you is important to Deer Park Roofing. Visit deerparkroofing.com.
Paul, Adam, Josh, Sean, thanks for this opportunity to be here. It's a very special day for me. A lot of memories as I was going through and talking about and thinking about all the accomplishments you had, but all the road trips and all the good stuff that went on here while you were here. Billi, first question for you. When you have two greats like this that come to your program, what's it like when they address the team and what kind of impact can that make?
I mean, I can't tell you how phenomenal they were. They came in, they watched practice immediately. Just the girls are looking over, trying to figure out, is that she and Amber? And have a chance to meet with them afterwards and just talk about the reason why they chose Xavier, how passionate they are about wearing the Xavier jersey, how excited to see the faces in the room who are going to try to carry this torch and bring this back to the tradition of excellence. It's just been an honor to be in their presence and to hear about their stories and to hear what motivates them. I'm wondering why we don't have compliance in here to figure out we don't have extra eligibility, because that would have been a better way to start this show off. But it's just been great to be a part of this day with them.
Hey, it's a new era in college athletics, so you never know.
There might be somewhere, right?
Some of this a little bit.
I worked at the NCAA. I don't know about that one.
No, I don't know. Well, give us an update on where you are right now in life and what you've done kind of since you've matriculated here from Xavier.
Well, right now I am currently coaching at my old high school, North Central High School. I am the JV head coach. And I'm also working with special needs kids at at this school called Northwest. So that's what I've been doing pretty much lately, and I've trained. I've been developing players. Also coach AAU basketball. So we just got done being in South Carolina at Rock Hill for the 3SSB Adidas tournament. So I live and breathe and still all basketball. I stay in the gym all day.
You were part of the 2 WNBA championships with the Lynx.
Yes.
Talk about your international success too, because there's a lot of that.
I have a Korean championship. That was a big one. I won that with Natalie Ochonwa, who plays for the Canadian national team. Mm-hmm. So I did that. I played all over. I played in China, Italy, Poland, Turkey, Israel. Those are the ones I can think of. But I played a lot of basketball overseas.
You still look like you can keep going.
I am currently actually looking to play one more year. I play in this thing in Indianapolis called the City League. And so it's kind of like how they have the Smith League here. It's kind of like that, but it's in Indianapolis. So I'm thinking about, getting myself back in shape, playing one more year. I won 2 titles with that City League as well. So, I mean, you don't get rings or nothing, just get a trophy. So, I got a lot of those.
Tashia?
So, per usual, a different career in sports than Amber. So, played the 1 year in the W, took a break from all things sports, needed a break. Fell into coaching, the one thing that you and I discussed when I told you I would never, ever do. I did it. I did high school for a year in Indianapolis at a local high school. I realized I was more competitive than I thought and moved on to a junior college in Kansas and then 2 years at the University of Indianapolis. Had the opportunity to get a master's degree while coaching, still wild to me. Moved on from coaching to the NCAA. I was actually in the eligibility center and then reinstatement cases after that. Did that for like 2.5 years. And now I work at Nike, which is wild to say.
Yeah.
Really wild to say.
I've talked to you a little bit about a Schmaltz edition of a shoe, so we'll get back to that maybe later on.
We will definitely discuss that off mics when things are not hot. Talk about it.
So, guys, before all this happened, by the way, these are the rings that these guys won for me, which is fantastic. So I wanted to bring them all. You've got the tote bag. Show them that. That was one of the promos here. So Tashia and Amber, and then the double bobblehead. So a lot of things to commemorate your time here. But you were both in Indianapolis. You were a year apart. You were in Indianapolis North. You were at Brebeuf.
Brebeuf, yeah.
Talk about just your rival. Was there a rivalry with you two? Because you're both Miss Indiana basketballs, and you both made your way to Xavier. So I want to learn, what was it like in high school? Were you playing against each other? Was it friendly? How did that go
We
down?
actually did play against each other one time.
Yeah.
And they happened to beat us. And I was, and I still hear, because I used to coach with her old head coach. So we were coaching together at North Central. She always tells the story how, Amber, we beat you in the Marion County Championship. Like, and they beat us, And I'm like, we're losing to a 3A division. Like, it's a lower division school. But they were good though.
Right.
They had Tashia, they had Amber Jackson, who was another big that was quick. They had a couple good guards.
It was good.
It was good. I mean, they didn't beat us by a lot, but it was a good game.
A win is a win.
But they ended up getting us, and I still hear the tale every day at work. Every day.
Amber's leaving out a few details. Just a few.
Adam.
So we've actually known each other since I was 13, she was 14.
Mm-hmm.
And Mr. Merriweather, which was our travel ball coach, he saw 2 tall players. The difference is like she came in tall. And when I came into the program, I came in short. And then I grew later. And he thought it would be a great idea to put the 2 of us together. Now, what he saw, we still don't know. But it worked out, obviously. And Amber being hyper athletic, me being more solid and physical, and our personalities could not be any more different as young kids. Even to this day, you all laugh about the banter, but we actually used to quarrel, actually argue back in the day because we were so different. There was a lack of appreciation for who each other was as persons and as players. But I think over the years, as we kept playing together in travel ball and tournaments and things like that, we grew to appreciate each other as people and as players. But high school, no holds bar. Nobody cares that you're a 4A and nobody cares that I'm 3A. Like if we're playing against each other, the goal is to win. And I think we've had maybe a quietly internal rivalry
Yeah.
between us. Not even
We used to play 1-on-1
all the time.
here
Yeah.
at Xavier.
all the time.
I have
How'd that
more.
go?
I have
There-
more wins. Don't.
She's
don't
going to
stats for that?
lie.
have more
She's going
wins.
to lie and say that she has more wins. That is not
Positive.
true.
Did anybody keep track of that?
Nobody kept track but us.
There was Ashley Bridge played with us, so
But Bridge doesn't count. She's an outside source.
Yeah.
Like, respectfully. I love Bridge, but she doesn't count. So, I mean, there's always been this internal quiet rivalry that I don't know that we've really acknowledged until now, which is she always wanted to be the best. I always wanted to be the best. We wanted to be our own best. And so while we competed next to each other, we secretly competed against each other.
Yeah.
Every game, it was like, who's going to be the better one tonight? And that's always how we've been. And I think that's actually what pushed us to be better players, is because we were consistently in a battle with ourselves and each other.
Well, it elevated completely the entire program here. So if you go 21-10, you go 18-10, she's still 3 points better. So you heard about that a little bit?
no.
Is that what happened?
No.
After the game? No.
No.
You sure about that?
Yeah.
Okay.
I'm good.
All right,
Yeah.
and we'll talk about the recruitment here to Xavier. So you're Miss Indiana basketball. You're a McDonald's All-American, tons of accolades in high school. You had options.
Yeah.
Kevin McGuff somehow makes an impact with you. How did it come to be that ended up here at Xavier?
So when I first came on the visit here, I was like, this just feels like home. This feels like, a place where I feel like we can build something. And I feel like we came out here and we built something. So, it was between Xavier and Rutgers at that time. And I was like, Rutgers is kind of far. But but I feel like what Coach McGuff has planned and things for us, I felt like it would have been a best shot for me here. So I felt like it was just the best thing for my family to come and things like that. And my mom was at every game. So, that was the greatest feeling ever. And I just felt like it was for me to be here. It was for me to be here.
And then Tashia Amber's here. So did that motivate you to maybe take a better look here at Xavier? Because you had similar options as well, right?
Nobody knows this story, so I'm going to share
Yeah.
it today. What's funny is that Amber's a year older than I am.
Yeah.
She was here. And at the time, I had also decided I didn't want to go to Purdue, and my options were open. I was looking, but I wasn't looking. And Amber and I, like I said, we've always had an interesting relationship. And so we were at a tournament. Mr. Merriweather said, hey, come watch the younger kids. We both said, okay. Amber's like, let me talk to you outside. And I was like, why do you want to talk to me outside? She no, come on, let me talk to you outside. I was like, what's going on? She was like, okay, so have you thought about Xavier? And I'm like, seriously, right now? She's like, absolutely, right now. Like, have you thought about Xavier? I was like, no, why would I do that? She's like, first of all, I'm there. And I was like, I know, kind of a dissuasion for me that you're there. She was like, no, but for real, like, listen to me. She's like, first of all, I'm there. Second of all, it's a really good school. Third of all, you know most of the players. I was like, I know most of the players. She's like, yeah, most of them have played in Indiana, Ohio, somewhere in the Midwest. Yeah. There are people that you know. She was like, do me a favor. I was like, I don't owe you a favor. She's like, just do me a favor, take a look. And so I said, okay, I'll take a look. I'll add it to my list. And so I did notice after that, still playing in tournaments and things, Coach McGuff is, I love him, but he's a bit interesting sometimes. He did not sit with the rest of the coaches ever. He was always somewhere off to the side where I could see him just by himself. And I asked Coach Merriweather during the game, I was like, why is he always by himself? And he was like, don't worry about that. That might be your future coach. I'm like, what is going on here? So essentially coming down the line, came on a visit. Amber's like, you got to come on a visit. I said, okay, I'll come on a visit. Had a good time. I did know most of the players. Sister Roseanne Fleming is the greatest salesman I've ever seen in my life. The greatest salesman I've ever seen in my life. And nobody can put my mother in check, but she did, because my mother was a little sleepy and she started off and she said, Brenda, do I have your attention? Mom popped right up. Every question that I would have had, she answered before I could get it out. Yeah. This felt like home. I went to a Jesuit Catholic high school. This is a Jesuit Catholic institution. The amount of things that lined up just felt right. Now, the funny part is you see how tall she is, you see how tall I am. When I told her I was coming here, this woman jumped on me. I had to catch her. I had to physically catch her and keep both of us from landing on the ground. So it played out. Amber, I can honestly say, is a large part of the reason why I'm here, because I would not have looked if she hadn't have said anything to me about it.
I definitely asked. I was like, this is a good opportunity for us to play together. I already know what she can bring to the table because when she came in, she broke all my blocking records, my rebounding records.
You're
She
welcome.
didn't broke it. So I was like, this was a great fit for her. So I was like, you know what? Come on, let's go. Let's win some rings.
You know, I think that's the most sense you've ever made talking to me. I think that's the most sense you've
I have
ever
matured.
made. You have. I'm so proud of you.
Fishy, I'll give you one about your recruitment here. Mike Bradbury, I was coming in here in the summer for some reason. Mike Bradbury's out there, and I'm asking how recruiting going. He goes, well, I'm going to tell you this. You know, Mike, I'll do my Mike Bradbury impression. Sorry, Mike, if you ever watch. I'm going to tell you this. We got Tashia Phillips. We got her. She's coming. I'm like, great, Mike. I have no idea who Tashia Phillips is, but it worked
That
out.
is a great impression.
That is a good impression.
Amber, listen, you got to get her to come here. Show up.
It worked out. He was not wrong.
It definitely worked out.
All right, talking about coaches, Kevin obviously had a great impact on your careers, your lives, but you had some other coaches, Mike Bradbury, Mike Neighbors was here, Carl Amaro. They've all moved on. A.B. Stocks, Kristen Cole, Amy Wall, even in her final season here as an assistant. How did that group, you have some stories about how maybe they gave you advice, they gave you some lessons in life or in basketball that kind of helped you progress through your careers?
I mean, I love Nicole. Nicole was one of my favorite people here. She just genuinely grabbed you and made you feel like you belonged.
Yeah.
Like Nicole was
That's Nicole like.
Nicole, like,
Yeah. She was amazing. Carla, I love Carla. Carla, we had this relationship where Carla thinks she's the best shooter in the world, and
Still does.
and I don't understand that. But
Money.
she definitely did. But she was one of those coaches that, like, the cool coach, you know, you go talk to, and she gonna get you in line real quick.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like, come on, Amber. Like, what are you doing? Like, come on. Like, you do this better. Like, you know, Kristen Cole was a great coach. You know, I just looked on Facebook and I seen her son is super huge now. I'm like, I got a picture with him as a baby, you know, holding him on the bus.
Yeah.
So, I mean, like, she was a great part of, you know, working on the post skills and things like that. So she was a big part. Coach McGuff, you know, Coach McGuff is Coach McGuff.
He is Coach.
He's one of the best coaches I've ever played for. When it comes to knowledge and knowing the game and knowing people's best attribute on what they can do on the floor, like, he is the guy. He is that guy. So, and Mike Neighbors, the funny man. I love Mike. Was so knowledgeable. Like, probably one of the smartest coaches I've ever been a part of. So, you know, I embraced all of them. So all of them. There's a really good coaching staff. I had a great time with them. Like, it was really great.
Coach McGuff has this way of connecting with people, his own very interesting way. And he doesn't always talk to a lot of people, but I don't either. We're both introverts, and we connected on being introverts. They also let me be my nerdy self, which is great because people oftentimes see me in the space of basketball, but I'm actually like a brain. Always been sort of a nerd and a book reader more than anything else. So Nicole, like she said, very welcoming, always just like huge smile, lots of hugs.
Yeah.
You good, want to have a conversation. Nabes would let me come in his office and literally ask him everything under the sun that had to do with our schedule planning, the waiting, why we were running defense this way this game versus another game. Coach McGuff, he would have this thing where he would say little slick stuff in practice. I love it. I love the sarcasm. Like, one day somebody fell in practice, he was like, next time watch that line. You know, so it was really just seeing the personalities and being able to engage. Amber had this, A.B. Stocks had this thing where, you know, in her day at UC, she was the strongest one, and we would actually have strength battles. She lost. But it was really being able to see them as people and not just as coaches. Like, we got here, coach had 2 kids. By the time we left, he had 4. We got to, you know, we got to trick or treat. We got to see them on the bus. Tish was around. We could have conversations with Tish about being a player, about being a person. Same thing with A.B. Stocks. She had her boys. We got to watch the boys. And it really didn't matter. You got to see them not only as coaches, but as people. And I think that was the biggest part for me is obviously basketball. It's more than basketball. It really is about the relationships you build. I still talk to Nicole. I will still talk to A.B. I still go and see Coach McGuff wherever he's living. I go and, you know, hang out with the family and the kids. And his oldest daughter is now being coached by the head coach that I worked under at University of Indianapolis. She's an assistant at Butler. And so being able to check in, on the kids in different fashions. So I think for me, a lot of it had to do with the people piece more than just the player piece.
I left Neil Ivey out of that. She was a grad assistant here for a couple of years, and we had Jaden Ivey running around here. That is right. Now he's playing for the Pistons.
That's wild.
I just ran into Neil in where was we just at? Actually here in Hamilton, Ohio. Spooky Nuke. Yes. Or I don't know how to say it, but Spooky Nuke.
You got it.
Yeah, I was talking to her. She was reliving her days here at Xavier. She said she loved it here. Playing against her during practice. I mean, she still had a little go in her. So, but yeah, it's kind of crazy because she was like, yeah, Jaden is tall as me now. He's 6'5", I mean, that's great. She's like, whenever you need a ticket to go see him, I will definitely let you know.
Get into a little bit of, you played with some characters here, some great personality. Megan Askew was one, always my favorite. She was a lot of fun. Do you have stories about some of your favorite teammates through the years and either fun things or competitive things?
I just remember one thing about Megan. We were at an airport, and I guess the artist Trey Songz wanted to talk to her. Uh-huh. I guess she was so nervous she didn't even talk to him. I'm like, "Are you crazy? That's Trey Songz. Like, are you serious?"
All I know is I was used to the character to my left. So there was that. Special thought she was a rapper. Okay, but she also thought she was a preacher because she said a prayer and it was her own version of a prayer before every game. But she would be like, "T, give me a beatbox for me." So I'm gonna spit something real quick. And that was always her. April has a personality. She was always pranking somebody. Yeah. And it was interesting. I'll never get past the fact that I thought I was an introvert, but Tootie Reed, my goodness. Yeah. If it wasn't game day or practice, you did not see Tootie Reed anywhere. Yeah. And so it was a lot of dynamic personalities. I love Rutan's personality. Yeah. Katie Rutan is shooter. Yeah. Lots of jokes, like quiet jokes, but also just get along with everybody. Mm-hmm. Yeah. Yeah. It was a lot of, like you said, a lot of characters for sure.
Yeah, and Kevin was always really good at piecing together what a skill that you needed. So Katie's a shooter. 100%. April Phillips a rebounder. So you got help in the post. And if somebody was either graduating or moving on to a different role, Special Jennings replaced Jerry Taylor at the point. He had that kind of vision, and really he was good. He was the portal before the portal. Yes, he was connected. He was always a connector and found the right piece of talent.
Yeah, because we ended up getting Amber Gray here and
Amber Gray.
Yeah,
right. Taj Wilson and Jessica Pashko. Mm-hmm. Yeah, we got some really good transfers there.
Yeah. I just thought about that.
You're welcome.
Oh yeah. Yeah.
Let's walk through the timeline.
Really I'm just really thinking about. I'm like, yo, there's some real players came through here. Like, what was I thinking?
Let's kind of I'll put together a little loose timeline for you. So, Amber, both of you followed what I call the era of Tara. So that's Tara Booth Smith, now the all-time leading scorer here. That was Kevin McGuff's first seasons here. They had an NCAA tournament. They went to WNIT 3 times, 3 20-win seasons, and Tara has 23-24. That's her scoring total. Then you come in. You were kind of the bridge. So Jerry Taylor, who was part of that group, Santana Granderson, Michelle Miller, Miranda Green was a point, and Joy Clyburn. That was your first year. So what maybe you remember about that and kind of you took over for the all-time leading scorer. You took that role. You came darn close to capturing it yourself.
Yeah, I mean, I came pretty close. I think I had a bad sophomore year. I don't know. But no, that was my first year coming in. They actually, I see Santana to this day because she moved to Indianapolis. So I look back at that squad. That was just the beginning. Yeah, I see. That was just the beginning, and they really came in. They were older. Like Michelle Miller, they were all seniors. Yeah. So coming in, they embraced it, but they paved the way for us though because they really made a big impact, and I appreciate them for that because without them, I wouldn't have probably been able to be the type of player I became because they really helped out a lot. It was a good group. I'm just thinking about it. It was a really good group. It was a really good group. I think we won 27 games that year.
You won 12 of the last 14. NCAA first round, and you went to Austin, if you remember that, and you lost to West Virginia. Because Joy had played for West Virginia. She was playing against her old team. Remember that?
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. So a lot happened.
Yeah. Then we move on, 07-08 to see that's your first season here. That's Tootie Reed's first season.
Yes.
And then April Phillips comes. What was April's story here? Because she was at Long Beach State, right? And just kind of I think she saw the tournament game, if I have the story correct, and decided to contact Xavier and say, hey, I think I might be able to contribute here. Is that accurate?
I have no idea.
Okay.
That's I have no idea on that story.
April didn't tell us.
Yeah,
I will say though, you talk about pieces being added.
that's a big piece.
Those two
two,
pieces, crazy ads. Tootie Reed with her athleticism and her
She can
ability
dunk.
to see the floor,
Right.
especially on defense, the amount of steals that she got for us, and it was key moments. And then April, I always called April the enforcer. Everybody thought I was the enforcer, but it was April.
Right.
April is keeping people on check on defense. She's playing tough defense on the offense. She's not afraid to run anybody over. And we needed that. But we also needed the experience. Both of them came and understood what it was going to take for us to win and be good, and to bring their experience from their previous years here, plus their skill set. I'm not going to lie. I don't think my experience would be the same without Tootie Reed and without April Phillips, because I felt like in the post I wasn't by myself with April. And not that Amber's not a post and she's not in there, but it's a different type of post play. And then Tootie Reed on the wing, knowing she's going to sky in from anywhere on the floor and snag a rebound at the right time. Those two types of dynamic players in combo, you don't see much anymore. And having them on our team, Billy said it earlier, our teams were loaded. And I'm now being reminded in these conversations of how loaded they were. Those two, excellent ads.
I mean, I used to watch Tootie because she used to play with Candace Parker with the, I don't know what AU team it was, but I mean, I used to watch her in AU. She was dunking the ball.
Yeah.
I'm like Tootie wasn't that tall. I'm like, she's dunking the ball. I'm like,
Tootie
this
still dunks the ball, and she's almost 40.
Yeah, like
my
it was great playing with somebody like that. Like, I mean, not the only one to be able to dunk, you know. So,
Yeah.
but no, it was
anyways. Man.
it was great because like Tootie was athletic and she brought a different type of energy. Like, and that was amazing.
She resembled you, kind of long, lean shooter.
Long, lean,
could drive
yeah,
it.
shooter.
Did a lot of versatility. So that year, you win 14-16. This one got me in trouble. So you go to the E10 tournament in Charlotte. So I told my parents, hey, come down here. It's beautiful in Charlotte. You lost the first game to Dayton. I think it was the 11 o'clock game. So now I'm in trouble. So you mentioned Nicole Ike, who was the director of ops at that point. This is a little bit raw, and it was a mistake on my part. I'm like, hey, this is right after the game. I'm like, Nicole, do you think we're going to stay or you think we're going home? And, you know, Nicole got that look sometimes when she would be like, oh, that was a bad idea. I was just trying to help my parents. But you remember that. So you still make the NCAA tournament. You lose by 3 to Nebraska. Kelsey Griffin played for Nebraska. Fantastic shooter. She had like 30 on you. But you only lost by 3. Just what do you remember about maybe the end of that season? And maybe about some of those games with Dayton. Let's get into that a little bit because that was a lot of fun.
So that year, the Nebraska game, what year was that again?
That was 07-08. So you'd have been 08 there.
Oh, that's my second year. Okay.
Yeah.
I don't remember them
I got
much.
you.
Yeah,
I don't
I
remember
got
them.
you.
The
She's
reason
got it.
why, because
got it.
my goal was I was focused on, I think I was more so focused on like the future. I think this was like the second time making the NCAA tournament. And I think it was just like, I think I was just going through the motion. I think we were probably just beating anybody, but I knew something bigger was coming. So, I mean, I remember Kelsey Griffin. Don't get me wrong. I remember, but I don't remember no 30-piece. So I don't remember that.
Yeah. That was,
No,
that was up in Maryland.
happened.
It was.
It happened.
Couldn't miss that.
I
day.
will. The reason that was a bigger game for me, much like you, Schmaltz. My godmother actually lives in Maryland, and my mother invited her to that game. And for my entire career, she had never seen me play, and I was very upset that the first time she watched me play, we lost. And like you said, it was a close game. I just remember it was silent after that game. Nobody really wanted to talk. Nobody wanted to engage. I honestly think that was a turning point for us. I think everybody was so pissed that we lost.
Yeah.
That after that, we weren't doing that again. We were way more competitive coming in the next summer. Everybody was in a different space, in a different headspace. I truly think that we realized that we squandered an opportunity that we had, and we didn't want to let that happen again. That was a turning point for us, because I remember coming in my freshman year, I was like, man, it's competitive here. We got some opportunity to do some big things, and I think we all know that we underperformed. And from that point on, it wasn't gonna happen again.
Yeah. So 08, 09, a little bit of a hiccup. You get a knee injury before the season, right? So you were out.
Yeah, that hurt.
And you had, Tootie was still here.
Yeah.
You end up still as a team. You 16 of the last 17, okay? And then you go lose to Gonzaga, who had Courtney Vandersloot at the time out there in Seattle. So you were still around a team. Just the potential of that squad. If Tootie was there with that year of experience, April was in there, you all had that that motivation you just spoke about, that could have been really, really special. Do you get that feeling?
Not even a feeling.
Yeah.
It was known.
Yeah.
We all said it to Amber, like, yo, why'd you have to go get hurt? Like we literally said, why did you have to get hurt?
Yeah.
Because we knew that we had an opportunity to do something special. We knew that as long as we were here, we had that opportunity. I do think, again, though, things happen as they're supposed to happen.
Yeah.
Because we all had to grow in different roles with Amber being out.
Yeah.
You know, I never had to go for the tip. I tipped every game that year. I'm like, Tootie's the better athlete. Didn't matter. You know, I had to take on more scoring, which that wasn't necessarily always my role. Tootie, same. April, same. We had to play a different game because we didn't have someone who could go inside and out like Amber could, that couldn't stretch the floor. You know what I mean? We didn't have that additional layer of defense with the length and the athleticism because Amber could guard a guard, Amber could guard a post. And so a lot of the abilities that she had, we missed that year. But I do believe, again, it set us up for another level of competitiveness because we all had to grow in roles that we weren't prepared to grow for.
Yeah.
So if she had been around that year, scary times.
Yeah. And you had Dee Dee Jernigan join the team that year as well.
Exactly. Scary times.
Fantastic.
Very scary times.
All right, next year, this was the big one. 9-10, 30-4 overall, 14-0 in the league, championships, rings. I'm right along with you. I'm right on the bottom of the shark there. I'm that little Remora. Okay? You win 21 straight to go into the NCAA tournament. You beat East Tennessee State here, beat Vandy in a very close one. There was almost the last second shot that went in.
Yeah, shot it with my left hand. I remember.
You avenged the loss to Gonzaga. Now you're in the Elite Eight. You're going to play Stanford. Stanford, I think, was 1 or 2 in the country. Jane Appel was the big post, probably Player of the Year candidate.
Yeah.
You get into this game, and it was a tight one. It was 26-24 at the half. You remember this? So you're playing, I think, at a good Xavier pace, right? You're down to, you're fighting this team out. What do you remember about maybe that first half or just that first initial concept with them? You know, that Caleb Peterson's on the team. You've got Nneka Ogwumike. You've got Ros Goldon-Wude. These are all legit stars, okay, in college. But you're right with them at the half. Do you remember any feelings from that first half?
I was thinking we had this in the bag.
Yeah.
I really was thinking we had this in the bag. You know, I guess we could have made different adjustments at the end of the game when it comes to decision making. But I thought we had that in the bag, and it still haunts me to this day. It still haunts me. We was just talking about it, and it still haunts me to this day.
Yeah,
but,
you almost didn't get him in here. I had to pull him out of the office and get him over here.
Yeah.
But I mean, it was one of the best games, probably, that I played in. Like,
Absolutely.
yeah, it was probably one of the best ones because it would have been like we make that Final Four. It would have been ugly for anybody that was going to see who we was going to see on the other side, but we just couldn't finish it at the end. So, but I mean,
I think I look at it. We clearly just always see things very differently.
What?
Always very different. You over here like we got it in the bag. I did not think that we had it in the bag. I was prepared for a battle. I knew.
Well, I'm not saying like a blowout or like nothing like that. I'm just.
Can I finish what I'm
my
saying?
bad. Go ahead.
Please.
My bad.
I'm not talking about a blowout, but again, cerebral with cerebral. I'm talking to Nabes. We're talking rosters. We're talking stats. We're talking abilities.
Yeah.
And I'm like, woo, okay. So post play, I got Jane. That's easy money. You know what I mean? We're used to playing against each other. That's a 5 against a 5. Whoever wins out, wins out. We're looking at guards. I'm like, they're big across the board. You know,
They were big.
Spesh is what? 5, barely 5. She's gonna be mad, but she's barely 5. She's gonna be a little mad. She's barely 5. You know, Didi's a tall guard, and we still have April. April's a tweener in her own right. Moss is a big guard. You know, we have some length. I think we have some abilities that can match up. But for me, I was thinking, okay, we have to get matchup for matchup at every point in this game for us to have a chance to win. Which is why when we came out at halftime and we were only down 2, I'm like, okay, we might have something here because we were actually matching up pretty well. Now we all know that Jane never fouls out, and I never foul out.
Right.
So how two of we're going to say it, arguably the 2 of the best 5 players that never foul out of the same game.
Right.
Something's a little iffy there.
Y'all were fouling each other.
I didn't touch her. Okay, I can't say she didn't touch me, but
So
I didn't touch her.
that happened like the last 5 minutes. So
It happened
like
with
she
the-
was.
yeah.
You might have gone first.
I went
and
first.
then she was like 2 minutes.
And then she was like 2 minutes later. And so that changes the dynamic of a game.
Yeah.
And it was those sorts of things that down the stretch ended up making a difference, which we got a couple of other interesting calls from primarily fouls. So I don't think I looked at it the same way you looked at it. I knew it was going to be a battle. I didn't know if it was going to be that much of a battle. But, you know, getting down to the last under 2 minutes, it's like, this is achievable. And then we went up, and I was like, you have to be kidding me. We're actually about to pull this off.
Yeah.
We're about to pull this off. And then we all know what happened. We don't have to talk about it. We don't have to
You don't want to talk about it?
I mean, if you want to talk about it, we can talk about it.
I mean,
We
just
had
a little
2
bit.
really
'Cause
clean,
it was
2
pretty
really
bad.
clean opportunities.
Yeah.
And they always say the pressure can get to you in the right moment. And I truly believe that's what happened. I think the weight of that game, the weight of that moment,
Yeah.
it was palpable. Like you could literally feel the intensity of what it meant to be in that game.
Yeah.
And to see Amber get 2 back-to-back clutch rebounds with 2 open looks.
Yeah.
And it's like, we just need one. We just need one. I think we all felt the way when both layups were missed.
Yeah.
However, and this is why we love Nabes, he's like, everybody pick your head up. Pick your head up. The game is not over. We still have an opportunity next play. And he was right. We had an opportunity to make a defensive stop. We didn't make it, but we still had an opportunity to win. And so those are the things that you appreciate in those moments. It's like, as a kid, you don't get it.
Right.
And I don't care who you talk to at any age. If you're in college and you're playing, you are a kid. You are a kid. There are things that you don't understand. But now looking back as an adult, having Nabe say, you know, head up, next play.
Right.
Next play. We're all like, we just missed 2 layups. What do you mean next play? But having somebody that has the steadiness and the wherewithal. And Nicole, you know, she's tiny. I love Nicole. But she's going around like, hey, calm down. Hey, calm down. Jody, we know she's a firecracker, but she's clapping it up for everybody. And Coach McGuff is being Coach McGuff. You know, he's standing over to the side. He's planning his next move. But the fact that we had that type of staff, that type of engagement to be able to, in what is a crazy, chaotic moment, to actually get everybody's head back in the game, to have one opportunity to win what could be a life-changing game, you can't ask for too much more than that.
Right. Didi was clearly upset after that, and she was kind of down, sort of crouching there. Nabe's first guy off the bench. to
Upset
kind of
is
settle
an
her down.
understatement.
And I think he said, look, we still need you here.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
So, Amber, you're right in that exchange. What do you remember about that? It came out of a timeout. There were 20.8 seconds left. It's tied.
I think I was just looking for overtime. I think at that point I'm like, okay, we just need to stop. We just need to stop. We just need to stop. And we'll get them in overtime. We'll get them in overtime. They ain't gonna be able to double me anymore. We'll get them in overtime. So
Yeah.
I was just thinking like, we got it, but it came up short.
So after that, Stanford grabs the rebound, timeout, 4 seconds.
Yeah.
Okay. So you're still tied. So you're basically playing for overtime. And,
Right.
and one of the more incredible full court runs happens. And I don't know, 2/10, maybe a tenth. It was really close.
It
but
was really
Jeanette
close.
Poland gets through everybody and
and
finds
lays it
one.
up on the right side. I don't understand that. I don't understand that. I was ready to get a hat and everything. So cut some net down. I don't know what happened. I think, it wasn't our time. So
Right.
I mean, it is what it is. It's still one of the great games. So it was one of the best.
Fantastic. It's just a complete heartbreaker. And that's one of the closest upsets ever. I don't even know an upset, but just a
It would have been
heartbreaking
upset
loss.
it would have been upset for them, But
Yeah, it's one of the top 5 heartbreakers here at Xavier, all time,
All
any
time.
sport. All right, next year you get back 10-11. Okay, everybody's back. You're playing together, so your injury actually helped you guys sync up and finish your careers together, which was maybe a silver lining on that. You guys still seem to like each other.
It was my decision to stay. Okay.
I was the driving force. You're welcome.
You win 19 in a row that year. You come into the NCAA tournament, so another regular season championship in the A10. You get the NCAA tournament here at home, and you get Louisville, who you had beaten earlier that season. But it was November, so a lot of things changed. You get into a tight ball game, and Shoni Schimmel
Oh man, she
starts dropping stuff from half court.
Man,
all day.
she was the Caitlin Clark before the Caitlin Clark.
Yeah.
I mean,
That's a
she
good point.
went bananas on us. I remember that. I'm like, yo, I thought we were gonna get by them easily because we beat them already. We good. And here she come, just knocking them down. I'm like,
Yeah.
get out there and contest. Like, somebody guard her. I can't go out there and guard her. Somebody else got to
She was
guard
shooting
her.
at half court, Amber.
Yeah, it was ridiculous. It was crazy.
Yeah.
Well, remember what got us to that point, though? That was a game where he changed the game plan. And by he, I mean the head coach of Louisville.
Jeff Walz.
Jeff Walz. And he decided that game. And I don't know if you remember, after the game, they had that little divider in the hallway because the lockers are right next to each other. Hearing him over the top, though, he was so happy, just gloating, like, the game plan worked. I knew they had nothing for that. I don't know if you remember, it was a tough game inside that night. They packed the lane, something so crazy. You couldn't drive. I couldn't post. We were relying heavily on the guards. Guard shots weren't really dropping that night. And it got to a point where I think their confidence soared because our offense wasn't doing what it normally did. And that, I think, gave her the confidence to be able to start shooting from half court because I don't know nobody that's going to shoot from half court just willy-nilly. But I do think that the defensive game plan for them enabled them to get confidence in a way that they didn't have the first time.
Yeah.
But I do think had some shots for us dropped, completely different ball game.
Yeah.
And Special went out of that game. She ran into a screen at half court. I don't know if she saw it or didn't see it, but it was a hard one. She went down and that locked her out for like the last, 6-7 minutes of that. So you had to play out without her as well, which was a tough one.
Yeah.
All right. Talk a little bit more about some of the opponents that you played. You played a national schedule. So you were down at Duke. I remember Karima Christmas was part of that team.
She was.
That was another
And
one.
That was like a
Jasmine
two-
Thomas.
That's around Christmas. It's like a 2-5 game. I think you guys were 2, they were 5.
Yes.
That came down to a last play, and it came down to one of the more
the same
animated
it's the
arguments
same
we've
play.
seen from Coach McGuff. There, Special gets kind of punted into the
Right.
stands, right?
And
Yes.
he didn't
A little
call it.
hard foul.
Yeah.
Hard foul.
Kevin's out on the baseline between the D and the U down there doing his
Yep.
protecting his player, but
Yep.
very animated. Just so games like that. I mean, you played against DeWanna Bonner. You played against a lot of these players down in the WNBA that have had great careers. Do you remember a specific opponent or a specific game, maybe like that Duke game that stands out for
was
you?
a good game too.
Right.
That's the game I actually was concussed, and I had went down for a second, but I still came back in the game. I remember it. I could still remember it was a really hard hit. I tried to cross the girl over, and our heads hit, and I was on the ground for a second and just blacked out for a second. I ain't telling them that. But yeah, so that was a memorable game. That we end up, so after we played Stanford, and we ended up picking them up on the schedule because, I mean, it was a good game. Played them again. That was a good game. What other games?
When we played Gonzaga again,
Yeah.
because remember we
beat them.
yes, but
Yeah, that was the second.
we had a little snafu in the media. I won't mention, but remember they asked Vivian what she thought about you as a player, and she had glowing things to say. And they asked you what you thought about her, and you was like, I mean, she cool. You hit her with the she cool. But
That's Vivian Friesen, right? She was the-
Vivian Friesen. The post exactly. That's the exact attitude
she's
she
all
had
right.
in that
Talking
moment.
about.
I know.
She's all right.
She's all right. You know, but that was a good game because remember Sluty was having a game. Vandersloot was having a game, and I think Special was doing her best to contain, but Sluty is so crafty.
Yeah, very crafty.
Coach made an adjustment that it changed the game for us. Remember, we changed the way we were guarding screens. So that way guards had a little more time to get over. We weren't really worried about the post roll because obviously, you know, the two of us can guard in there and Vivian was having a hard time getting to the basket that game.
Yeah.
And for us, I think that was one of the more challenging games because everybody expected that matchup to be big, and it was because we were playing again.
Yeah.
Except for this time, obviously the outcome was very different. I think we felt more confident in that one. Duke game, like Amber said, playing Stanford again, that was a challenge because the Agumake sisters are now together. It's both of them instead of just one.
Yeah.
And they're dominant.
That was a
When
good
we
game.
played North Carolina, we played them.
I didn't.
You didn't play.
I was hurt.
Yeah, you were hurt. But that was another one that was pretty big. I would
I
honestly.
didn't even go.
Yeah, you did.
I didn't.
You sure?
Yes,
Why do I remember you being in the locker room?
I didn't go.
Okay, sad face. Point is, though, I don't know that you can honestly say that one trumps another because we had a staff that was going to make sure that we played at the level of our ability, not at the level of our conference or at the level that people thought we should play because we were a mid-major. Kevin saw the vision, Nabes saw the vision, the entire staff every year saw the vision, and their goal was to put us in the toughest games against whoever was willing to play us, although most people weren't because they were afraid to take an L. And whatever we were able to accomplish, that's what we were able to accomplish. I remember Ohio State at that point, they had Gentle Lavender. Always played us in a close scrimmage.
Yeah, we did play that.
Yeah,
Didn't wanna
close
play it.
scrimmage. They never wanted to play us regular season, but we were always put in the place to play the best basketball, to play the toughest teams, to have a schedule worthy of us playing in the NCAA tournament, and obviously it worked out.
There was Georgia.
Oh
Now,
yeah,
this is
we
fun.
played
That was
Georgia.
Georgia.
Yeah, that was a fun one.
We played Georgia here, and they had Tasha Humphreys. So Tasha Humphreys decided not. What is it?
I get more buckets.
Yeah, she decided, like, you know, you do the little captain speech and everybody shake hands. She decided to disrespect us. So we went out there and tore them up. So that was her fault. Like, and it was the picture. One of my favorite pictures ever. Special threw me a oop with Tasha Humphreys looking like this, and I'm catching it up and finishing it above the rim. It's actually one of my favorite pictures. It's just a reminder, like, you know, that was this was the first time playing Georgia.
I think so.
Yeah, I'm like, this is a big opportunity for us. Like, you just come in here and disrespect us like we ain't nothing. Like, nah, we about to show you something right now.
Yeah.
Well, remember, Andy got disrespectful afterwards. He called me. He said, well, you can't do anything when a player is 6'5", 280, and I've never been 280. So
Man, that's crazy.
it got wild. That game got wild.
That's
He was
aggressive.
talking about your bench press.
That must be talking about.
Right.
And even then, he's shy. Even then, he's shy. So
How about conference-wise? So Charlotte was really good. George
Always.
Washington,
always.
Temple. I
Temple.
think Don Stanley was there maybe 1 year.
Oh, she was there.
Yeah, we played South Carolina
Before
when she went to
then
South
you
Carolina.
opened up down there.
We
the
played them
next year.
down there and beat them by.
Did anybody in conference particularly either give you trouble or did you like a matchup when you were going into it saying, hey, we're going to play Charlotte. I really like playing against.
I ain't gonna lie, sorry Atlantic
These
10,
players.
but we destroyed everybody we touched
Yeah.
in Atlantic 10. It wasn't. No, I mean, George Washington, it was always interesting games, but everybody. I mean,
Are you asleep?
I mean,
Don't act like Dayton wasn't always in
I
the
was
game.
going to bring that. I was going to come back to that.
Temple,
Probably.
Temple when they were Temple
Yeah.
They
Right.
were
solid.
always they were a solid
good.
matchup. They had a full rounded out.
Candace
bench.
Dupree just left, right? When
Yes.
we
Yeah,
came
that
in.
was
So
before
she had just
yeah.
left. I would have loved to play against her in college.
Exactly. Temple was good. George Washington, Richmond. Because remember Crystal Goring. Mm-hmm. There you go again. But Crystal Goring was also a good competitor. But Dayton was always the game. It was always the game.
There were some
It
great
was.
ones.
I don't say I hate people and I don't hate people, but there was definitely some abundant animosity
Dayton bring that Dayton bring some different type of energy out of you
every time.
for no
time.
reason. It's just I don't know why. I mean, Xavier and Dayton, conference rivals. You
knew. I mean, the coaching staffs have spoke to each other. We have spoke to each other, whether it was after the game or in the captain's huddle. You knew somebody was going to throw an elbow, somebody was going to hit a knee. You were going to get scratched up. It was going to be some sort of physical game, regardless of where we were playing, whether it was here or there.
Yeah.
It was always going to be physical.
I would say with the elbows and all that stuff was Temple for me. Temple, Shanita Landry, like she got under my skin. But I mean, we're cool now. Like she's in Indianapolis. She's like she's cool now.
You don't drive past each other and kind of.
No. She played in the City League the first year. But her playing against her, like I would always get a technical foul. I would always get a tech. Only tech I would get is when we play Temple. Like if you ever go back and look at technical fouls, you'll see Temple. I mean, because like she would just get under my skin. Like just get under my skin. I always felt that was like kind of like a little small rivalry between like players, but same position.
Y'all played similar styles. Just you were taller. You played similar styles. You're just taller. And I'm going to say it, you're better.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
There you go. But that's the way Don Staley still.
Yeah.
Her teams play that way now.
Yeah.
And that's the way she coached them.
Yeah, Donna's doing her thing respectfully.
All right, guys. Any other memories you want to share about your time here, other than probably you had maybe one of the more entertaining broadcasters?
You definitely
Can I pull
were.
that out of you?
No.
I mean, listen.
All fish for a comment.
You remember every game, what happened? I'm not going out on the floor until I get my fist bumped.
That's perfect.
Every game, I'm not going out on the floor.
I love that.
Until I get my Schmaltz fist bump.
So we're still doing that.
Absolutely, we're still doing that. I actually graduated to
Carry
hugs.
on the tradition.
Yeah, carry on the tradition.
All right, guys, thanks for joining us. It's been great for me to visit with you. We're going to take a quick break. We're going to come back with the big finish and why we invited you here for the real purpose today.
Awesome.
Thanks, guys.
Thank you.
The Sean Miller Podcast is proud to partner with Xavier University's Williams College of Business, ranked the #1 online MBA in Ohio once again, and with nationally recognized concentrations in marketing, business analytics, entrepreneurship, and finance. The Xavier MBA advances your career. Classes are offered in part-time, full-time, online, and executive formats. Xavier alums receive a 25% tuition scholarship. Join Greater Cincinnati's largest MBA alumni network. Find out more at xavier.edu/MBA.
Back on the Sean Miller Podcast, and we've got Amber Harris, Tashia Phillips here, two of the Xavier's greats, and Billi Chambers, current head coach here. You've got a great presentation here, so we're going to give it to you.
Absolutely. I'm incredibly appreciative that you guys were able to make the trek out from Indianapolis to spend some time with us. It has just been an incredible day, just feeling your energy, hearing the stories, having you share with our team and share with us just some of the memories that you have here. And we're just so incredibly appreciative of you paving the way for the success to come with this team. We are just so incredibly proud to continue to remember you and honor you and glorify all the things that you have done for Xavier University, and we are proud to let you know that we will be retiring your jersey numbers.
You're going to see your names up there, and Tara Booth's up there, Joanne Osterkamp's up there,
That's
and now
a
it'll be
great
you
picture.
two.
Wow.
Look at them teeth.
No way.
Nice. What's that going to feel like, do you think, when you come back and
It feels
see that.
great. It feels great.
I don't know that I'm ever not going to be in disbelief.
Mm-hmm.
I know that I work hard for things. I try. But I never take it for granted when people choose to recognize you for things. And I don't expect to be recognized ever because it's not entirely necessary, but when it happens, it's great. Great is not even the word. So honestly, I don't know that I'll ever not be in disbelief.
Well, certainly deserving. Congratulations on that honor. And just, again, it's second, third, and fourth, I think, right? To be retired here, and couldn't happen to a better tandem over there. And you get to share it. You don't have to share it with the tote bag. So that's a good thing.
Yeah. I'll hang on to
Go ahead.
these.
Yeah, go ahead.
And you get the bag.
All right, guys. Wonderful to see you. Come back, visit us often.
Yes.
Thanks, Schmaltz.
Thank you.
Definitely will be back.
Welcome back to the Sean Miller Podcast. Amber, Tashia, congratulations again
you.
for that honor. I know it's to two of the best players that played here, and to put on a women's jersey. Congratulations. I know Xavier Nation appreciates everything you all have contributed to the program over the years, and especially on the court, off the court, whatever it may be. So congratulations. And I do have to ask, before we let you go, you guys talked about your careers, but you did have a chance to watch this year's team a little bit in practice. Maybe, Coach, I'll give you a chance here. Your thoughts on this year's team? Anything you've seen? Anything, just in general? I know, there are a lot of new faces this year, but for any fans that might be listening, kind of wondering about this year's team, anything to share at all about the team or going into the year?
We do have a lot of new faces. We have 10 newcomers to join the 6 that we had returning. And we're excited. We think that we have upgraded the talent level, have a lot of good shooting, a lot of good energy, a lot of work to do. So we're not going to skip that part. We're going to get in and we're going to make sure that we are exactly what these young women talked about with the team afterwards, that the win mattered. It was the most important thing for them, that they respected each other between those lines. They were competitive in every single thing that they did. In the summer runs, competing against each other, staying after playing one-on-one, and that them to be able to give this group that message was exciting for us as coaches, because it's the message that we're trying to give, right? So we think we have an incredibly competitive group that's excited about building something. Like Amber said, I wanted to come there. I saw the vision. I wanted to be a part of building it. And that's the same thing these young women are doing. So I'm just trying to take it all in with them, have a little bit of the success rub off, but we're very excited about the group that we have to build with.
Sure.
I will say, I don't know that you necessarily need the success to rub off. Being in practice today, spending time with you today, we have the right staff. We have a staff that cares about the players. We have a staff that cares about the process. This looks and feels familiar, and we have the right people. So, as the year goes on, as it progresses, I'm looking forward to the success. I already know it's coming, but congratulations ahead of time.
Yeah, exactly. Good group coming. I was in there watching. Everybody was there for each other. So, and that's a good thing. That's a good start. You got to start somewhere, and I'm excited to see. I'm gonna catch a few games for sure.
Awesome. We're glad to have you back.
Yes.
Thank you.
Well, congratulations again to the both of you. Coach, thank you very much for coming on today and spending this hour with us here on the Sean Miller Podcast. And for people that are watching and listening and maybe wondering when the actual jerseys will go up in the rafters, we'll figure that out at a later date. We'll get you back here for a game and, at your guys' schedule whenever you can make it back here. And we'll do the ceremony. That'll all come out later. But since you were both here and around, being around Cincinnati and getting you both here, we wanted to make sure we did that in person. So I know we're going to get inundated with questions of when can we come to the game and when's the ceremony. We'll figure that out later. But to have you both here is very special to do this in person. So we'll sign off for today. Adam, who is behind the scenes, Adam Baum, he will be back on next week's show. I want to thank Mike Schmaltz for coming up here, making this as special of a show as it was. And as always, our video producer, Josh Semsrott, who's a wizard back there putting all of this together on the video and on YouTube. Make sure you're liking, subscribing, commenting, whatever it might be. Follow us on all the social media platforms at Sean Miller Pod. Want to thank our presenting sponsor, Deer Park Roofing, and the official payroll sponsor of the Sean Miller Podcast, Payroll Partners. We will see you next week on the Sean Miller Podcast.
This has been the Sean Miller Podcast, presented by Deer Park Roofing, with your hosts, Paul Fritchner and Adam Baum. Join us again soon for another episode with the head coach of the Xavier Musketeers, Sean Miller.